Good morning. We will go ahead and call to order our MAP4 Citizens Advisory Board meeting for August 7th, 2025. 2A, approval of minutes of the July 14th, 2025 Citizens Advisory Board meeting. Those were included in your packets. Are there any changes, corrections, revisions? If not, I take a motion in a second to approve as presented. Oh, okay. Joy, are you a yay on the minutes? Huh? Are you a yay on the minutes?
I'm a yay on the minutes. I don't know how come I haven't popped up.
Okay.
Yes, I'm good.
Okay, the motion passes. Thank you. Ryan, we got her. She good?
Nope.
I think she's on the right screen, but I don't know.
Okay. Help is on the way. Okay, moving on to item 2B, receive the MAPS4 monthly financial report ending June 30th. Mr. Todd.
You have in your packet the financial report. Real quickly, on the revenue side for the month, $11,997,662. Fiscal year of $144,342,495. And for a total of $706,049,210. Want to bring your attention to the fact that we are 3.3% above projections still. On the expenditure side for the month, $9,318,024. For the fiscal year of $129,658,898. And for a total of $369,786,860.
Okay, any questions for Mr. Todd? Bob?
Just one question, David. I was trying to remember, is that 3.3%, did that tick up a tenth, or is that the same as what it was?
It was 3.2 2 months ago.
Okay. All right, thank you.
So spending in the right direction. Okay, any other questions? Okay, if not, I take a motion in a second to receive the financial report. The motion passes. Thank you. Moving on to item 2C, construction update on the MAPS4 Diversion Hub.
We like to periodically bring you a report as to the status of our projects that are under construction. Today we'll look at the Diversion Hub. Farouk Karim from Reese Associates is here to take you through that.
Welcome, Farouk. Good to see you.
Everybody. It's good to see you too, Teresa. Well, things are going well at the Diversion Hub. Things are going well on site. We will start with just a quick project overview. I know most of you are familiar with the project, but it's about a 2.5-ish acre site in between Ellison and Klein, in between Linwood and 6th Street. Construction progress is going really well. We're going to go through a series of photographs of just construction updates. Things are moving so well that a lot of these photos, which are about a week and a half, 2 weeks old, are already pretty out of date. The contractor's doing really well. We had a pretty wet summer, as most of you guys know, so they've done a really good job of catching up. So this is kind of the southwest corner of the building looking northeast. It's the side of the main entrance for the staff. There's already a lot of masonry that's going up on that side of the building. Just another view of that side. We're kind of swinging around to the right just a little bit. Again, if you go out on the site today, that area of the site looks very different. There's just a lot of activity, a lot of materials out on site. In addition to the masonry that's going up, they have begun some of the work on the metal panel. They have a large metal panel mock-up for the composite panel that's sitting on the west side of the site. This is a view looking to the southwest, so you're seeing the northeast corner of the building. So main entrance, some of the parking lot has gone in, as you can see, on the east side of the building. This is looking into the main entrance and lobby. The actual entrance is off to the left, but again, lots of progress there. You're starting to see a lot of the interior steel framing that's going up. I would say that the interior steel framing is pretty substantially complete. They're just kind of wrapping up details, just some recesses for technology, monitors, et cetera. You're going to see in a minute some of the electrical and mechanical roughing that's happening. This is the northwest corner of the building looking southeast. So this is the training room. And again, that side of the building where the staff was. I'm sorry, this is actually the southeast corner of the building. This is the back of the building, so this is the south end. This is, you're seeing what will be a large expanse of glass looking into the staff entry. That's the staff staircase that goes up to the staff workspaces, which are really coming out fantastic. All the metal framing that you see there is temporary. That's going to be a glassed-in stair. There'll be some area underneath the stair for staff to use for just another place to go and work or just to get away for a little bit. But it's going to be a really, really nice space. Again, just more progress on some of the site, parking. As I mentioned, lots of work going on the exterior skin of the building. Mock-ups going up, mock-ups getting approved, lots of masonry going up all over the building. A lot of the electrical infrastructure and installation is in progress. Again, this is another one of those spots, if you went out there today, it would look vastly different. There's already, the box had been removed, masonry has been installed, the box has been reinstalled. So lots of good progress there. Lots of electrical installation and infrastructure going inside the building as well. Lots of coordination with some of the mechanical and plumbing items. You're seeing a photograph of some of the roof drains coming down and coming through the floor from the roof into the second floor cavity. And then just, again, a shot of some of the electrical work that's going in. You're seeing some of the support bracing for some of the monitors and things that are going in. And, we've got, an interesting building with some interesting conditions. So we've got some floor heaters going in. Those mostly are going in on the north side of the building in the lobby atrium area up against those large expanses of glass. Again, work on the outside continues. You're seeing some of the exterior ceilings going in. So that is below the staff break area. And then a view from inside. This is one of my favorite things when I was out on site. You're going to get some really spectacular views of downtown. Unfortunately, we don't have it in this slide deck, but there's some really amazing views looking east down 6th Street. And you can really get a feel for what's happening in this part of town and how just things are coming our way. I say ours. Just being part of the project team and the diversion hub, this area of town will look vastly different in the next 10 or 15 years, and it's really exciting to kind of be early in that process of making that transformation happen. More just look at some of the interior steelwork. This is really fun too because I think we're starting to really get a feel for just the way the building lays out, how some of those spaces feel horizontally and vertically, just what the volumes of spaces look like. And as I mentioned, super, super excited about that second floor and staff work area. It's going to be amazing compared to what they have today. I think it's going to really help them do more and better things. One of the things, and it's not necessarily as relevant to the project here, but the program is doing so well. They're growing so fast. They've actually grown into Cleveland County beyond Oklahoma County. So I think that's a testament to how well this program is working and what it's bringing to our communities in central Oklahoma. One of the things that we discussed in our meeting earlier this week is change order number 3. So we do have 7 small change order items that we discussed. Let me flip to that page. So the majority of those are structural, mechanical, and electrical changes. Those were all necessary after construction began, so we're coordinating on-site as-built conditions that happened during construction, engineers' drawings, and the subcontractors' drawings. All of the concrete structural items were identified before the concrete was actually poured, so really it involves some modification of formwork just to coordinate with what's happening in those areas, and I'll go through those quickly. So we have some column base modifications. We had to adjust the height of 8 column bases to make sure that they were in the correct height for the steel columns. That was a concrete issue. There were some slab modifications to coordinate with the floor heaters. So you saw that slot in the floor in one of those earlier slides. One of the things that we wanted to make sure was we had the correct clearance in between the back of those heaters and the exterior windows. So that was coordinated. There was a concrete grade beam extension. That's at the main entrance, so we have some conditions where we have some thickened walls, and so there was one area where we had to just expand that a little bit to make sure that we had full coverage under the wall. The next one is not a concrete issue. It was a recommendation from the door sub. So we have an overhead door on the west side of the building into the donation and storage area, and the engineer was fine with what he had designed, but the door installer suggested just some enhanced steel around that opening. I think it's just going to be a better product and hold up better over time. A fairly minor thing, but that was one of the things that the project team felt like was important to incorporate. One of the last images that I showed was some piping coming through, and so, a lot of times what happens, even though you got, diagrams and things in the drawings, we just needed a little bit more opening in the floor just to coordinate between the ductwork and those roof drains that were coming in. So we've got a lot of roof drains coming off. We've got some overflow drains. So really it was just a little bit of steel to expand that opening. Gray beam and pier coordination. We needed to adjust the height of one of those beams on the ground at the elevator opening on the first floor. And then the last one is just to pick up a couple of additional lintels above the windows on the second floor. I think there were 2 locations where that needed to occur. So when we look at the total, and I'll come back to where we are with the project here in a second. So when we look at this change order, it totals about just over $40,000. Change order 3 represents about 0.2% of our overall construction budget. One of the things that we shared with the committee earlier this week is that we're still just under 1% total for change orders for this project, so we feel pretty good about that. Obviously, we'd all like that to be 0, but I think, again, we feel pretty good about that. As I mentioned, it's been a really wet summer, but the contractor's doing a great job of trying to catch up. We're still looking for completion in the spring of '26. And one of the questions that was asked by the committee was, just how far along and where are we? So we're around 50%-ish done with construction. It seems like maybe there's more because the building envelope's pretty close, but there's a lot of work to do on the inside. So just kind of a 3-month look ahead, finishing up the exterior framing and sheathing. There's a little bit left to do there. Roofing is being installed. Rooftop equipment gets installed pretty soon. MEP rough-in is ongoing. The perimeter sidewalks around the site, the ADA sidewalks, those should be complete by mid-month. Really, the next step on the inside is starting to put up some of the drywall, so that's going to happen in the next few weeks. Next week, we understand that some of the windows are going to start going in, so they haven't put up the framing for the large expanses of glass, but if you're out on site, you can see a lot of the kind of the square rectangular openings. They've already got some of the aluminum in there for the windows, so that's progressing. And we expect the building to be weathered in first week of September. So lots of exciting stuff. Masonry and all that is ongoing. So just to wrap up before I open it up to any questions, just again want to express the whole project team's thanks to the City of Oklahoma City, the MAPS office. The MAPS office has been fantastic to work with. We absolutely love Jim. He's the best. Also, just the Diversion Hub staff and the Arnall Foundation, they've been a great client, a great partner, and great friends. So with that, I will open it up to any questions that you guys have.
Thank you for your presentation. Any questions for Farouk? Okay, no. Great job. You covered it all.
Thank you.
Okay.
I expected a tough question from Todd.
All right, moving on to item 2D, recommend approval of change order number 3 with Wind Construction Company for the MAPS 4 Diversion Hub project for $40,307.19. Take a motion in a second. Okay, the motion passes. Thank you, and thank you again for your presentation. 2E, construction update on MAPS4 Innovation District Connectivity Phase 1.
So continuing on with our construction updates for you, we have a project that is the connectivity in the Innovation District. Luke Schmidt from Kimley Horn is here to take you through this presentation.
Great.
Welcome back.
Good morning. Well, thank y'all for having us here today. We appreciate it. Again, my name is Luke Schmidt. I'm the project manager for the Kimley Horn team. I'm joined with Christina Stout today. She's been partnering in a lot of the design and construction administration, and was excited for the chance for y'all to meet her today. So with that, let's dive in. As a reminder, the master plan for this project was approved in 2023 by this board, and we've been focusing on design and currently under construction for implementation of the priority A areas, which includes a section of Lincoln, Northeast 8th, and the North Lottie corridor. Want to give a quick update on where the contractor is today. We've seen a lot of progress over the last month since we've last been here. The contractor has wrapped up a lot of the Lottie sidewalk improvements. You can see there's a section that one crew is working on as they travel south down Lottie. Also, Northeast 8th Street is currently under construction in front of the Convergence area. So really excited for all the great work that's been done and all the completed work that's been done over the last handful of months. As a reminder, this project is a mix of sidewalk improvements, bicycle facilities that are upcoming, as well as intersection improvements. So a lot of the sidewalk and intersection improvements y'all can see out there today. And also from a sidewalk standpoint, this project has over 3.5 miles of sidewalks and 23 intersections that are being modified. So a significant amount of infrastructure being implemented as part of this initial phase of the project. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Christina to give a couple updates on what we're seeing in the field.
Hey, thank you.
Thank you,
Welcome.
Luke. So I wanted to touch on some of the completed improvements that we've seen as a part of this project. So like Luke mentioned, there's a handful of construction groups working, so we're kind of spotty in the areas that we've touched so far. So we do have completed improvements on Lincoln, Lottie, and 8th Street. Some of the pictures that we have shown on the screen include ADA improvements along linear sections of sidewalk. On the right, we have a photograph from Lincoln Avenue. So we kind of continue the concept that they have there of the serpentine sidewalks to just create a comfortable, inviting environment for folks to go walk around on. And then on that left picture there on the screen is also improvements that we have on Lottie Avenue that are pretty typical throughout the project. So curb ramp improvements at intersections, side street improvements as needed for ADA compliance. Looking at some in-progress ADA improvements that we have along Lottie Avenue specifically, we had a few drainage things that we needed to work through along the project. On that west side of Lottie, it captures all of the water that flows off of all the parking lots from the OU Health facilities. So obviously a large amount of water coming through this area. There was some existing drain structures that had been collapsed or were in poor condition currently. So as a part of this project, coming through with sidewalks that were up, abutting right next to these drainage structures, we did have to improve some of those as well. So the photographs that you have on the screen here are a couple area inlets, as well as a flume that's going to be improved here in the next couple weeks, just to allow an ADA pathway that's not going to be collecting water and miscellaneous items that are going to be flowing off of the parking lot. So making sure that we have improvements that are going to keep a clean sidewalk throughout after construction's wrapped up. Looking at more improvements here on Lottie, this is just north of those drainage improvements that we were just looking at. Just wanted to highlight how the contractor's been able to follow very closely our plans that we've come up with. So having, moving through the drainage and then moving north into the driveway improvements, just making sure that we kept an ADA compliant pathway throughout there, making sure that we had the minimum widths that we needed to create an ADA pathway, moving from drainage to driveways all along the frontage of Lincoln, along the OU Health parking areas. Looking too at the paver enhancements, this photograph is from the intersection of 8th Street and Lincoln. So we've gone through on the northwest and northeast corners, pavers have been installed. Those two corners are basically wrapped up. We have signal improvements in there as well. But just wanting to make sure that we had a design that worked to be able to put signal poles in an area that they were going to be acceptable for ADA compliance with the push buttons before we went and put the pavers in, to just make sure that we weren't, tearing out the pavers that are already put in there. So Rudy's done a great job of coming up, kind of taking our design and making it real life with these pavers. At the intersections, we wanted to kind of have a visual enhancement here with the pavers. So we did propose to have kind of a gradient moving from darker to lighter pavers just to create a little bit of visual interest at the intersections. Talking more on the traffic signal upgrades, this picture is still from 8th Street and Lincoln. Like I mentioned, the northwest and northeast corners are done. So we have the PED poles placed, we have the pavers in. Since the southwest and southeast corners are still under construction, we have those PED heads taped off for now, but making progress on the signal improvements throughout the project. Just a reminder, we're doing radar improvements as well as a part of this project. So there's 4 intersections that currently did not have radar or did not have sufficient radar. So making those improvements as we move throughout this project. And then looking at the Northeast A Street, as a reminder, that's our, kind of enhanced area. We have a lot more, landscaping improvements, more hardscape improvements as well. Something in the past few weeks that the contractor has been working through is the installation of the Silva cells. So the Silva cells have gone in very quickly. They dig about a 4-foot deep hole, drop the Silva cells in there, and then backfill it with less compacted dirt. So that's going to allow for in between the Silva cells to have a loose dirt to be able to allow the tree roots to grow into them and not have to grow into soil that's been compacted by layers of pavers and sidewalk and concrete. So just making sure that we're giving these trees a good chance to survive and making sure that we have a holding place for water wells, since they will be in a large paved area, just making sure that the trees have what they need to be successful to grow here. Looking to at North 8th Street, we do have that kind of gradient where we move from a more traditional sidewalk improvement, signal improvements. Moving west towards the Innovation District Hall, we have the enhanced area, so we're moving into more landscaping. So this intersection here at Geary is a little bit of the split of where we move from a more traditional sidewalk project into a sidewalk streetscape, landscaping. We have benches going in. So this is that linear segment of sidewalk. Earlier I mentioned that the intersections have the gradient of pavers that go from light to dark. We wanted to make sure that we had those same color pavers throughout, but here we have more of a blend that kind of draws your eye linearly as you go down the project and takes you to destinations on either side of the project. Looking at the amenity zones, we have these throughout the project, not only on 8th Street, but also on Lincoln and Lottie Avenue. So these are just going to be intermittent throughout the projects. They're just little areas just off of the sidewalk to allow people to stop, take a break when they're on a walk. There's a lot of folks that walk around, whether they're residents of the area walking or people that work over at the OU facility. We've seen a lot of people on our site visits taking a stroll around lunchtime too. So giving people a place to kind of stop, take a breath, look at what's around, enjoy what we've put in. So these amenity zones are under construction now. Most of them do have the pad put in and then the walls on the back end of the amenity zones. Upcoming is going to be installing pavers on top of the concrete base and benches. Alongside the benches, we'll have an open area for a buddy space for wheelchair users to be able to stop and sit as well. And then we do have Merlot red buds going in on either side of the amenity zones to create a little bit of shade and visual interest as well with the vibrant colors of the Merlot red buds. Along this project corridor, there were a handful of bus stops that were not already improved. So we went ahead and took those bus stops and put in pads that are compliant with the new bus stop requirements. So now whenever construction is done on this project, all of the bus pads will have been completed in the area and they'll be ready for benches, for amenities, trash zones, and stops to be able to be installed on top of these pads as a part of this project. So kicking it back to Luke.
Excellent. Well, a lot of exciting things to look forward to in the next few months as well. So we'll start to see the landscape improvements coming in the next handful of weeks, including shade trees in the pedestrian zones and some additional intersection beautification. Also, Northeast A Street will have bike lanes at the end of the project as well. So once construction's done, we'll be able to restripe Northeast A Street as well. You can see a cross-section of what that looks like. And then last but not least, from a change order standpoint, we just have one change order on the project currently, total project budget of just over $3.5 million as we stand today. From a schedule standpoint, the current schedule we have shows construction wrapping up at the end of September. We're working with the contractor right now. This may slide out a bit so we can have a more optimal time to plant trees. Right, today's not a great day to plant trees, so we're looking at extending that potentially so we have a better shot with some of the trees along the corridor. So we'll have an update next time with what that final schedule is. So with that, I'd love to open up to any questions.
Any questions? Okay, great job, and thank you both for being here. Appreciate it.
Absolutely.
Okay, item 2F, recommend approval of engineering services contract with Kimley Horn and Associates, Maps for Neighborhood Connectivity Phase 2 for a fee of $644,720.
So there's two phases to this project, and that Luke just described. There's a second phase, and we did interviews in the usual manner, interviewed 3 firms, and Kimley Horn was selected to do the second phase also. So that's what you're seeing here in this contract.
Okay, any questions? Okay, if not, I would take a motion and a second to approve. Cast your votes. Okay, the motion passes. Thank you. Item 2G is construction update on the MAPS 4 sidewalks, Phase 1A.
Again, continuing with our construction updates, Grady Wade from Smith Roberts Baldischweiler is here to show you what's going on with sidewalks.
Welcome, Grady.
Thank you. Good morning. As Mr. Todd stated, this is a construction update for project M4 TS010, which is the MAPS 4 sidewalks Phase 1A. Just an overview of what we were doing. There's 3 general alignments on this: Quail Creek, Britton Road, and then the Northwest 23rd Street PPA. And the goal was to establish some connectivity to the neighborhood schools, parks, and supply some amenities and enhancements. The original length was 27,050 feet, and during the process of construction, we've added an additional alignments that are approximately 4,100 linear feet extra. Nash Construction is your contractor on this, and the original contract was a little over $3.2 million. Our start date was July of 2024, with the initially anticipated end date of July 2025. Obviously, with our rainy season we had this year, we've had to push that back quite a bit. So our new anticipated end date is the end of September of 2025. Just going over a few of the alignments here. Quail Creek was our initial alignment. Everything you see in red there was was originally scheduled to be done in the project. The blue alignment at the bottom there was an added alignment in order to provide some connectivity to the park from the neighborhood there. This is a picture of Spring Hollow Road down on the bottom left. It's just a typical sidewalk through that area, pretty straightforward. That's a finished product with the sod already placed. Continuing on Quail Creek, that's the elementary school that we connected to in the picture on the left at Thorn Ridge and Rosewood Lane. And then the next picture is just turning around and looking south. You can see where the alignment comes up Thorn Ridge Road there. Again, a finished product. So Britton Road was our second alignment, both sides of Britton Road from Chartel to near Robinson Street. We also added, as you can see there, Walker Avenue connection, which I'll get more into in a second. The challenges on Britton, obviously, is just the amount of traffic that's involved and the amount of driveways that we had to deal with there. So this is kind of a typical thing that we ran into on Britton, is a driveway like this. That's actually a used car lot that the guy sets cars out next to the sidewalk. So we couldn't really narrow his driveway. His business was going to suffer if we did that. So we had to complete the driveway back the way it was. We ran into that issue a lot on Britton. So continuing on Britton towards Robinson, this is just west of Harvey. On the picture on the left, you can see a water utility box that we had to alter and raise to make it flush with the sidewalk. And then you can see the utilities that were in the way, the manhole on the right that we've had to kind of maneuver around. Another good example of the driveway is across the street there at the Casey's. Just another large driveway that we had to replace the entire thing to keep their business up. The added alignment I mentioned at Walker, we did that to connect the Oklahoma Foundation for the Disabled. We did that from their campus to Britton Road, north to Britton Road. That was approximately 3,700 feet of additional alignment that we added here. We connected directly to their sidewalk at their parking lot, crossed Walker, and then allow them to venture all the way to Britton. The 23rd Street PPA, one of the streets in that is Military Avenue, one of our longer alignments there. It goes from 26th to 30th Street. We were really choked down with right-of-way and utility issues here, so just some of the examples of what we had to deal with here. Backside curb to deal with the utility poles and grading issues. And then we did a lot of curb and gutter and street replacement, really, repair. The curb was not in a condition in a lot of places to allow our sidewalk to abut up to it, so we had to replace a lot of that. Chartel is our longest alignment on the project, from 23rd to 43rd, including Crown Heights neighborhood. Again, right-of-way restraints and utility restraints caused some overruns on some curb and gutter and backside curb, again, for grading and utility issues. Crown Heights we dealt with a lot before the project even started, had multiple neighborhood meetings with them. This is their finished product. We actually moved the curb out 4 feet, narrowed their driving lane to allow for 1 lane and a bike lane. They actually requested colored concrete, so that's what you see there. That's why it's a little bit different shade. And also the tactile warning devices, they requested the metal ones instead of the bright red plastic ones, so they also received those. Western, obviously another busy thoroughfare. 36th Street intersection there on the right. We did half of that. We're coming up to that. We're just now finishing the west side of that intersection. The center picture there, you can again see that's an extensive driveway repair we had to do over what the original plan was. So, and then some more backside curb on the left there. Just restrained by right-of-way issues in a lot of these and grading issues. So this is Amendment 3. Again, additional curb and gutter, variable height curb like I was showing you on the backside of the sidewalks, some pavement repair, ADA curb ramps, the utility box adjustments like the ones on Britton there, and then numerous driveways. And then the change order, additional sprinkler heads and sprinkler lines that we ran into that weren't originally in the original set of plans. And then obviously we talked about the additional time for rain. We were caught up to it until April. Obviously we had more in May and June, so this change order will add those additional days needed to complete the project. And then the overall budget, our original fixed construction of $3.7 million. Our original bid was a little over 3.2. Through our amendments and change orders, we're now up to about 4.6 million. So, with that, any questions?
Questions?
Yeah, that's a big difference in the cost of the budget. Just a big difference.
Yes.
So,
Well, we added that alignment in there, though.
Yes, we've added quite a bit. We've added,
It isn't just changes. We added an entire, how long was that alignment, Grady? Roughly.
the Walker alignment's about 3,700 feet, but in all, we've added 4,100 feet of additional alignment, additional sidewalk here.
So it's an additional work.
so it's not just cost increases or overruns, it's, more sidewalks. So we got
That's
more
correct.
for the project. Okay. That makes me feel a little bit better. Yeah, I was with you. Okay, other questions for Grady? Councilman? Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Item 2H, recommend approval of amendment number 3 and change order number 5 for MAPS 4 sidewalks and related amenities, Phase 1A, for an increase of $675,148.74.
I just want to further comment that the majority of this is an amendment. So remember, there's change orders and then there's amendments. Change orders are negotiated, they're outside of the contract. This is an amendment. This is just additional quantities of what was already bid and is already in the contract. So if they bid $60 per square yard for concrete sidewalk and we had 100 square yards, now we need 300, we just do the math on that. And we're not negotiating anything, it's already in the contract.
But I do feel better that we got more
Absolutely.
sidewalks.
And you're probably going to see that as we go along with these projects. And if we have additional funds within that phase, we're going to build more sidewalks.
Okay.
And this is a faster and better way than packaging it together and sending it out for more bids.
Right, right. Okay. Yeah, there we go. Okay, the motion passes. Thank you. Item 2I, recommend approval of final plans and specifications to be advertised for bid. Maps for sidewalks, related amenities, Phase 2B.
This is just that. It's final plans and specs. And John Strayhorn from Garver Engineers is here to show you what all is included in their plans.
Good morning, everybody. My name is John Strayhorn with Garver. I'm here this morning to present on the final plans for the Phase 2B Sidewalks and Related Amenities project. So there were, from the Bike Walk OKC Master Plan, there were 5 areas identified for Phase 2B, which include Adventure District, Edwards Park, Culbertson and East Highland, and then north and south of Northeast 23rd Street. Some of the project goals, which also come from the Bike Walk OKC plan, create a walkable community, and then ultimately we're trying to improve connectivity and pedestrian safety. Here's a little bigger map of how these 5 areas lay out in relation to one another. Each of these areas is boxed in, and then you can see the red line work inside of those. Those are our proposed sidewalks. So the good thing about the Phase 2B project, it's a very standard sidewalk project, nothing fancy, nothing complicated, pretty cut and dry. So with that in mind, let's take a little bit closer look at each of these areas. So starting with the Adventure District, we'll improve connectivity from Prospect Avenue over to Lincoln Park. Will be proposed on the south side of 50th Street. One thing I want to point out here, you'll notice that break in the red line. That is where we're able to tie in and utilize some existing sidewalk that's ADA compliant out there now. Looking at a few site photos from this area. The left photo there is where we'll make that connection into Lincoln Park. That middle photo is one of those existing ADA compliant sidewalks that I mentioned that we'll be able to utilize. And then the third photo is just a really good picture to show typical conditions in this area and the needs for pedestrian improvements. Next, we'll look at Edwards Park. Edwards Park will make connectivity improvements along 10th Street as well as Grand Boulevard. Want to point out here, there's a couple extra little segments coming off of the Grand Boulevard sidewalk. That is where we're actually going to make a connection into the Edwards Park existing sidewalk network. A few site photos from this area. That left photo is Grand Boulevard at the I-35 on-ramp. Our proposed sidewalk here will be on that left side behind the curb. The second photo here is some existing sidewalk under I-35 along 10th Street. In this case, we'll actually have to pull that sidewalk out because it doesn't meet the minimum width requirements for an arterial street. And then the third photo, this is a great photo to show the needs for pedestrian improvements. As you can see, there's a ramp to basically nowhere, and there's a beat down path in the grass showing there needs to be a sidewalk here. Third area, we'll look at Culbertson and East Highland. Connectivity improvements will be along 12th Street as well as Kate Avenue. Kate Avenue, you'll notice, is kind of going back and forth between the west and the east sides of the street. And the reason for that is we're going in, we're filling in gaps in that existing sidewalk network. A few site photos from this area. The first and the third photo along Kate and 12th Street are good examples of needing to replace sidewalk that's not compliant with the left picture, and then fill in gaps in the sidewalk networks with that third picture. And then that second picture along Kate Avenue, that's one of those existing compliant sidewalks that we're tying into. Looking at our fourth area, north of Northeast 23rd Street, this will provide connectivity improvements along 30th Street, Kelly Avenue, Fonsel, 24th, as well as Jordan Avenue. Sidewalk in this location will be just proposed on one side of the street only. A few site photos from this area. That first photo is a good example of some of the typical design challenges that we saw in this area. So some steep driveways you can see in that left picture, as well as crossing some drainage flumes as well. And then the second and third photo along Kelly and Jordan are another good example of filling in gaps in that existing sidewalk network. And then our last area is south of Northeast 23rd Street. Connectivity improvements here will be along Lindsay, 16th Street, Lottie Avenue, as well as Prospect Avenue. And then similar to the north area, sidewalk will be proposed just on one side of the street. A few site photos from this area. Again, that left photo is another good instance of a typical design challenge we saw in this area with needing to design our sidewalks around overhead electric poles. And then the second and third photo there with Lottie Avenue and 16th Street, again, filling in gaps in networks and replacing sidewalk that's not compliant. Now let's move on to estimated construction cost. So the Phase 2B construction budget was about $3.94 million. And then below there you can see a generated estimated cost for each of those 5 areas, which summates to about $2.85 million, which leaves us with a Phase 2B budget balance of a little over $1 million. Next steps, looking at schedule here. We're here today presenting on final plan approval in August, pending council approval next week. This project will be advertised in August with a bid opening in September, and then a construction contract award following in October. That would put construction starting estimated in November of 2025, with a duration of 10 to 11 months of construction, with construction completing in September of next year. With that, I'll take any questions or comments.
Any questions for John? Ryan?
So similar to the previous presentation where I guess they filled in driveways and things like that. That was the first question. Will you guys be able to do that as well to kind of make the whole area look better? And then the second question is, I guess with the $1 million extra, does that mean there will be some more alignments added to this project as well if the bids come in, you know, at this level?
Could be, yeah.
Yeah, so for driveway improvements, we went ahead and included all of those driveway improvements from the street back through the sidewalk crossing. So each of the driveways in Phase 2B are being improved already for the vast majority of the driveway. Yes, sir.
Okay. Other questions? Okay. Thank you so much, John. Appreciate you being here today. We need to approve recommend approval of the final plans and specs to be advertised for bid for maps for sidewalks and related amenities, Phase 2B. Okay, the motion passes. Thank you. Item 2J, recommend approval of amendment number 4, maps 3, Katy Trail connections with the vicinity of Northeast 10th Street between Northeast Grand and Windermere, and the maps 3 Air Depot Trail, Air Depot Boulevard between Southeast 59th Street and I-240.
So this is a MAPS 3 project. It is completed. This is to complete the accounting. So much like we were talking about adjusting quantities for additional sidewalks, we're zeroing out all this, if you will, and making the contractors contract square. We're reducing quantities, and that's why it is a decrease.
So, okay, any questions? So where does that, since it's a positive on the balance sheet for the fund, where do those funds,
They'll
will
still
we use those?
they'll
Okay.
reside in the MAPS 3 account.
Okay.
And we've still got
Other
the
projects.
Union Station project going on.
Okay, perfect. Okay, all right. Any questions for Mr. Todd? Okay, if not, I take a motion in a second to approve. Okay, the motion passes. Thank you. Moving on to item 3, discussion items. Do we have any discussion items today?
We don't have anything.
Okay. Anybody? Okay. MAPS 4 subcommittees. Any subcommittee reports for the board today? Okay. Item 5, update of status of MAPS 4 program. Mr. Todd.
So we have a lot going on, as you see today from the updates, but we didn't talk about Palomar that's under construction and the Animal Welfare Center that's under construction, the bike lanes that are under construction. Also, we've got parks in design, the Foster Center is in design, youth centers are in design. We just completed purchasing that second youth center site, which is the church on Santa Fe. The multipurpose stadium is in design. And don't forget the Norick Arena demo next Tuesday, 7:30, sharp. It'll last about 4 seconds, so don't be late.
Don't be late. And plan for parking.
Yeah.
Okay, well, fantastic. Okay, any questions for Mr. Todd? Okay, moving on to item 2.6, comments by board, staff, and citizens. We do have a citizen that's signed up to speak today, Brandy Vore. Brandy? And yeah, come on up to the podium, and you've got 3 minutes.
Take that long, I promise. Good
Okay,
morning.
good morning.
As you already said, my name is Brandy Vore. I'm the executive director of OCARTA. It's a recovery community organization. It's been in Oklahoma City for over 23 years. We serve individuals across Oklahoma transitioning out of crisis, incarceration, and homelessness, or experiencing homelessness and substance use and mental health. I'm saying all that because I have a point, but many of them would directly benefit from supportive housing, and you guys have that in your MAPS 4 project, that an RFP that went out. We submitted our proposal under the MAPS 4 RFP 2401 by the original deadline, that was July 30th. My question is to the board, if you could share what led to the change of the shift of extending the proposal date to be submitted by September 3rd. If there were any shifts in the timeline or review process, because we already submitted ours, I know I can pull it back and add to. We're just grateful for the opportunity to be a part of this effort and appreciate your time and commitment to the community. I just wanted to know why the shift happened in the extent so much more time was given to submit more proposals. Not for us, but for the community, because this one has kept being pushed out so far. So thank you.
So this is one that we've struggled with responses, and we heard from some people in the community that asked us to extend this because of the grant climate, so to speak, and funding and getting those kind of things put together, that they need a little extra time to see how that was going to shake out. I think that originally, remember this is the second time we put this out, I think the original one was extended also. We're not in a hurry to get this done as much as we are concerned about doing it right and making sure we get the right people. And if we need an extra month, we'll give it an extra month. Believe me, I understand that we have needs out there and we want to get this done. But this is one of the projects that we're struggling with on finding the right partners.
Well, and to your point, there are a number of projects that are being impacted by the shifting federal grant environment. And so we're experiencing that on a number of projects, so that makes sense. Okay, thank you for your comments. Other comments from staff?
No, ma'am.
Okay, any comments from the board? Bob?
I just had a favor to ask of David. I have to be traveling as the Norick Center comes down. Are you going to videotape that so I can watch it at a
Yeah,
I can't
like that
imagine-
question,
at
Bob.
4 seconds? It won't take me long. But
I can't imagine there won't be 100 different
Okay.
angles on social media, but I believe some of the news stations are planning on live streaming it, possibly. I'll get you the information on that. I'm sure you'll be able to see it.
Me too.
I'll be
Yeah.
on an airplane, so I won't be able to watch it as it happens. But I just wanted to, since venues are important to me,
Yes.
wanted to be able to see it at a later time.
Yes, great question. Any other questions, comments by the board? Okay. I just want to say thank you for being here. I hope everybody had good summers. I can't believe that we're saying that. School's starting this week, and we're off to a great fall, but appreciate y'all's continued commitments. Okay, item 7, we are adjourned.